Yeah, we've been playing. What is the actual name? Aliens Fireteam Elite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I actually have some gameplay, so here you go. Let me overlay us here quickly. Fancy, whoosh! Look at
So
that.
yeah, Aliens
Wow.
Fireteam Elite. If you haven't heard of it before, we are now in the renaissance of Left 4 Dead games, and this is very much one of those type of things. So it is a, curiously, 3-player game, 3-player co-op, third-person shooter, not first-person, set in the Alien universe. From what I can tell, quite a few years after the events of Prometheus and I assume Alien Covenant. Because they reference at least Prometheus a ton in this game, which is kind of cool because I like that movie. So yeah, but yeah, it's three-player third-person shooter, class-based. So you choose between 5 classes, each with their own special abilities and perks, and also limitations on which 2 guns you can take into battle. You aren't restricted. Like, if one person chooses a gunner or a demolisher class, another person on your team can also choose that, so you can just play what you want. And what I found most surprising about this game is how much damn progression there is. There's a progression per class, so you level up each class individually, which governs how many perks you can have active at any given time. You have what they call a combat rating, which, if you've played a game like Destiny or The Division, is sort of like your light level or whatever, just how much damage you're able to output, your effectiveness at certain difficulties, yada yada. And then guns have their own XP. You've got cosmetics and attachments that you can attach to guns that increase their combat rating, increases their effectiveness against Xenos, and gives them unique abilities. Like, one of my favorites was a pistol that if I killed a creature, it would put 2 bullets back into my magazine, which was real
so
fun.
broken.
And super broken, yeah. But yeah, you fight a lot of aliens in this game, like a ridiculous number of xenomorphs.
If you've watched any of the movies, you know that like one alien is near impossible to do anything with. But in this game, you're just fighting them left, right, and center. There are hundreds of them per level. I'd say per level.
They rack up the tension just by sheer numbers. It's not like, oh, this game isn't scary anymore. It's like, oh my god, there are so many. How do we cope with this? So yeah, I mean, you've got the normal xenomorphs, and you've got special ones as well, like the Prowler that will hide and pounce on you. You've got ones that explode. You've got a drone, which is one of my favorites. It will hunt you. So it will just appear out of nowhere, take some life, damage, and then run into the vents and disappear for a while.
Really annoying.
Yeah, and it keeps escalating. Like, even in the final act of the game, there were new creatures being introduced.
I was quite surprised that. So I think the game has. Are we allowed to say how many acts it has?
Yeah.
So it's got 4 acts. And I was surprised, thinking that, we've seen, in Act 1, we've seen everything this game has to offer. Like, there's this kind of enemy, kind of like, I suppose, for comparison's sake, let's say Left 4 Dead. It's like you get your standard enemy type and then some special infected. There's a hunter, there's a smoker, whatever. This game starts out like that, but as you play through the story, you start getting introduced to different enemy types, which are drastically different in some cases, to the point where I won't, for spoiler purposes, I won't say what the enemy is, but if you're looking at the footage now, we are fighting just, these little aliens running at us, and you can snap to cover in this game. And we were laughing, saying, oh, why would you ever do that? So it'll put you at such a disadvantage to snap to cover, but you actually do need that later in other missions. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. We kept getting surprised with different enemy types.
Yeah, each act. Yeah, exactly like you said. You're like, oh, we've seen the large majority of xenomorph variations, but the game was actually really good at consistently surprising me with new enemies, and then mixing them into the available enemy pool in challenging ways.
Exactly.
Like, by the end of it, you are getting a real mix of different enemy types that are challenging you in I mean, some are really, really tiny enemies. Some are big ones that take loads of bullets to kill. And when you are protecting an area from waves and waves of these, it becomes really complex
It's
to like balance this.
yeah, because I mean, you having to not only mow down or focus your attention on this very tough armored enemy, but also survive the dozens of little ones swapping at your
And
ankles.
and then on top of it, like some enemies take more damage to certain weapon types like
Yeah.
fire or electricity. So when we played, it was Yumi and friend of the show Darren
Yeah.
Bone Thighs. Um and we usually had a very varied roster on our team. I mean, Darren was usually a demolisher. I usually played a tactician,
I
and
was a
Matty, you
gunner.
were like a gunner or demolisher. So we had a good spread of abilities. Like I could always put down a turret, and eventually that turret could shoot fire. Like Darren usually had a flamethrower, and you usually had a smart gun or something of the like.
Yeah.
Um, and that allowed us to confront a lot of these waves pretty tactically and well.
Yeah.
So I like that is definitely factored in. It's not just like, oh, this is a class
There's
just because it has this fun abilities.
yeah.
Like you have to think about it.
There's definitely, I mean, you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of unexpected depth to the game. Like I really went in thinking it's a co-op shooter. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but we're just gonna run through some missions. It'll be fun. But then there is this whole thing of no, there's different enemy types. There's different strengths and weaknesses with ammo types. Well, or abilities. And yeah, there's this gear system which incentivizes you to keep playing as different classes to not only rank up that class but also get currency to buy different perks or attachments, that sort of thing. So there are definitely legs in this game in that regard, which I mean you've actually finished the campaign, so all 4 acts took you what I'd say like 7-8 hours, maybe 10 hours, yeah.
Around about there,
And I mean we did experiment where we ramped up the difficulty to levels we should not be playing, just to see what it's like.
I was curious. I was like, is this power number there just to like scare you off, or is it actually like, will we struggle? And yeah, when we upped the difficulty and we were facing a level with a combat rating about 200 higher than what we had, we were making progress. It was hard. We probably could have finished
we could have done it, yeah.
We failed numerous times, and when you fail that whole level, you have to restart it. So
yeah.
And considering a level is what on average about 18 to 20 minutes, that's a lot of time.
No. So, yeah, but there's incentive to go back and replay levels purely because you want to maybe play a different class or try different weapons or just grind up to get more perks or weapons or whatever. Which honestly I did not expect from a game like this. So
yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool.
I was not expecting like that. That was the first like big like, oh, okay, there's a lot more happening in this game than I thought. And like once you finish the campaign, you unlock 2 more difficulty levels. So like I can see that hamster wheel of play the levels again, level up your gear, get better gear, play it again. Darren made a very good comparison. He says it feels like a series of Destiny strikes, and he's completely right. It is exactly that. It's like once you finish the story content of a Destiny expansion, what you're doing is mostly running
the
activities
same things,
and strikes, and this feels like a distillation of that sort of feeling. So yeah, just like you, I was expecting, I wasn't expecting something bad, but I wasn't expecting something like as entertaining as I found. I had a great time with this game. I definitely had a better time playing with friends than I did with the bots.
Sure. I played the first level or the second level with bots once just before we hooked up to play co-op, and I ended up failing the mission. I was like, how? This isn't even the hardest difficulty or anything. But just towards the end, we got overwhelmed. I was like, well, this is definitely not the way to play the game.
I mean, the bots are competent, but they're not.
But they never. Yeah, but I do wonder. I mean, you can matchmake with other people.
Yes.
But this being early access, the pool of people we could play with was very, very tiny. So I'm not quite sure what that'll be like in practice. If you are the only person in your group of friends picking this game up, you can at least matchmake with other random people.
Yeah, definitely. And I would advise that. It's not a game that requires like very tight communication, at least not on the difficulty we were playing, because
No.
on the regular difficulty, friendly fire is turned off. When we played a higher one, it's turned on. And boy, let me tell you,
Do
with
not.
flamethrowers and rocket launchers, that gets real
Yeah.
like challenging to balance.
My goodness.
So yeah, I just really really like this game, and
Mm.
I'm surprised I liked it as much. I think I said while we were playing, like I enjoyed this considerably more than I did the Back for Blood beta.
Oh,
Even though
I
they
did
are
not know
similar games,
that.
yeah. I really really enjoyed this, and I think the game has a year of free content drops planned, and I will
Mm.
definitely be like hopping
Yeah,
back
I'll
into
definitely be
it.
checking back in.
Mm.
And yeah, I imagine that will either be, maybe more story content or just,
Mm.
just
More
more
weapons,
weapons, more
yeah.
things to unlock. So
Because there's
yeah.
still a bunch that I want to buy. That I kind of want to just grind up and play for. Oh, we never spoke about challenge cards, man.
Oh my.
That's actually one of my favorite parts of the game. So you
Hang
have
on, it's your favorite slash most hated part of the
Jesus,
game.
yeah, okay. There's times where I've like sworn at myself for playing a challenge card, or sworn at Matty for playing a challenge card. So essentially, you have different difficulties that you can play each act at, but you can also play. Well, one person at a time can play a challenge card, which applies to the entire level and the whole team.
Hmm.
And usually, what it is like a debuff that you'll have to deal with in reward for like 2 times XP or 2 times credits at the end of the
Yeah,
run. Sometimes they'll just straight up buffs and they'll give you no rewards. It's like just to make a level easier for you.
yeah,
But there are some crazy fun ones, fun and frustrating ones.
but yeah,
What one I think that you did was like it increases your
reload.
recoil by 3 times or
Oh
something like
yes,
that.
yeah, yeah. That was.
Uh yeah. That was tough to deal with. The one that I thought would not be that bad and ended up being horrible was your regular shots deal a third of the damage, but headshots deal 3 times more damage. That royally screwed us.
I mean, on paper, you think like that's
Oh,
we can
you
manage
chose the
that.
run to show where we all died. That's
Yep.
great
This
timing.
so if you're watching the video, this is us on intense difficulty.
Yeah,
It is a good slash bad time. It was
yeah.
for us. We got overrun and we died. Spoiler. There we go.
So many enemies.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so yeah, like you said, on paper that would be great, but then it ended up being a level where there were just loads of smaller enemies, so headshotting all of
Um.
them was just not feasible. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But I mean,
there.
in our defense, that was a thing of we just don't know the game well enough yet because we were playing levels for the first time. If we had known, like,
Mhm.
oh, this is this level, let's kit out accordingly. Like, we could put those challenge cards to good use.
Yeah,
Um,
probably true.
but I mean, we were often just triggering like, oh man, the reward in this is so good. Let's just try it out.
This sounds like
And
so much fun. Yeah.
yeah. And like again, now if you're watching the video footage, this challenge card we played turned 95% of enemies into, I don't know what they're called, but
Exploding
they're like
ones, yeah.
exploding ones. And again, on paper, I was like, guys, it's fine, just keep your distance, whatever. But when there's so many coming at you and you shoot them and they explode, man, it
It
was
basically turned all
challenging.
the regular enemies into exploding ones. And my assumption was like, because normally the exploding ones are a special zombie, so they take a bit more damage to take down. And I was like,
Mm.
okay, they're gonna reduce the damage. Nope.
Nope.
They were just as hard to take down, and there were just like way more of them. So yeah, I think the one that I still hated the most, love hated because it was interesting, but boy, was the one that you played where a drone would always be hunting us. So from the beginning, a drone starts hunting you, and if you kill it, another one just comes at you. So
Yeah.
it was just like
It kept us on our
every time we
toes.
thought we were safe, this thing would just fucking pop out of nowhere and just murder us. And we'd be in a huge wave defense, and next thing, this drone is coming at us. Like, I could not deal with that. It was just so much to
We
handle.
we still finished that mission though, so it was worth it
We
in the end. We
did,
got extra credits and experience. Good time.
it was that thing would come at the most like inopportune times. You'd be like, "Damn, I'm low on health. I'm gonna heal." Nope, drone's here. He's like, "What's up?" And if he grabs you, he takes
He
away like
does a
half your
lot
health.
of damage. Yeah, and I stand to be corrected, but I'm pretty sure if you get swiped on your back, you take a lot more damage. Because
Yeah.
it might be in this video, but at one point I was busy filling up ammo. An enemy swiped me behind, and I'd lost half my health. I was like, we're not even on the hardest difficulty anymore. Like, that is obscene.
You chew through health here if you're not
Yeah.
careful. Yeah.
But I mean, no, sorry, go for it.
No. I was just gonna say if you like overextend, you're
Oh,
fucked.
yeah.
Like you.
But yeah, so the challenge card system, I think ultimately we both really like the option to, present the challenge. And obviously it changes levels. Like this card that we played where, every alien was an exploding one completely changes the level on how you face it. So, I mean, I don't know, I can't tell you that on the box says there were 100 challenge cards to choose from, but there were quite a variety for us to choose from. And yeah, like what a great addition. I'd love to see this sort of system in other games. This high risk, high reward, or yeah.
No, I think it's one of the best parts of the game. Really, it like you said, it just changes levels beyond just the difficulty. It actually adds some variation that that makes it. Jesus,
but no, my footage is actually lagging here because there's just so much happening.
There was so much happening in these levels. It was real chaos. And it resulted in some of the most grueling defeats. Like often when we died, it was right at the end. It was right at the end. And we were just like, Jesus, we were so close.
So close.
But yeah, it's fun in that way. It's like tight knuckle. It's white knuckle rather.
Why not both?
Why not both? But at the same time, really rewarding. Just as you see the numbers go up, as you see your perks go up and your weapon damage go up, it's real fun. I also think I think visually this game looks pretty great. I kept being floored by how great the flamethrower looked. Like I cannot believe flames look that. It just looks incredible.
It's so bright that at one point Darren's like, I need to switch weapons. My eyes are getting so.
It really is bright. It's and the funny thing is we're all playing on PC, so I'm playing on a monitor that doesn't have HDR, like none of that stuff. So it's not like obscenely bright from the get go. And it was searing my eyeballs. It was so bright, but it looked so good.
This is a pro, by the way. The searing eyeballs good thing. This is how good it looked.
And then the sound design was just equally great. I think all the weapons sound great. I kept telling you and Darren until eventually you guys figured out what I was saying.
I figured out,
The headshot sound is perfect. It is like this little horror movie chime every time you get a headshot, and it blends in well.
It goes with the game so well.
I love it so much.
The only criticism I'll say is that the one act had we said it sounded very much like Star Wars. It is, which Star Wars not a bad thing, but this very almost upbeat, playful track when you're busy trying to survive, it just does not fit.
That whole, I think it was the whole of the second act. The music there was just very.
It's like this was lifted straight from Star Wars, like an alternate Star Wars universe.
It's what is cool is that each act has its own distinct visual style. And that persists throughout. So you're not just fighting on a spaceship, and you're not just fighting in underground ruins. You do get some visual variety, and I think they do a lot of cool things with the environments and the stories they tell in them. So some line reads are real dumb. Let me tell you that much. Like the story is very much like, did you watch Prometheus and did you watch Alien? Well, you might get some little Easter eggs here and there, but there's not much else going on. And your handler just has some of the most obscene line reads.
Great.
Just like real fucking dumb shit.
Look, if you're going in is expecting an Oscar award-winning script, you setting yourself up for disappointment. But if you know it's going to be some good cheesy alien dialogue,
real cheese.
You good, and it's a good time in that regard.
I think my favorite was the handler calling the little facehuggers spicy nuggets, which I was like, why? Like, where did that come from?
It's and we ran that mission twice, so we had to facepalm twice.
It was the spicy nuggets, and also the mission where we kept dying, where there was the tent with blood. It's like, damn, there's blood.
Some blood, what?
Of course, something bad happened. No one just loses that amount of blood just because they're having a good time. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I was, again, just to recap, genuinely surprised by this game, and I think I'd recommend it. I mean, what's a nice little added bonus, it's not even a full price game. I think it's a $40 game.
$40,
so grab it with some friends, or grab it and matchmake with other people. It's
when I heard that, when they said, "Oh, it's $40," I was immediately like, okay, expectations down. I know this is like a budget shoot or whatever. This feels more complete than a lot of team-based shooters I've played in a long time.
Definitely.
So, yeah. It's a great time.
Would recommend. A lot of fun.
Would recommend, yeah. Kind of still want to play more of it.
Yet another surprise from 2021. Who would have thunk?
Who would have thought that an Aliens game that was a shooter after Colonial Marines would actually be good?
Yeah.
Yeah. What a great time. Really enjoyed it.